Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have a very special review, impressions of a knife I've had for a little bit. This is a knife that I bought with the intention of kind of getting a handle on it and kind of getting an impression of it because I've not handled it before, and also to be a giveaway knife. So I was kind of excited about this one, and I wanted to kind of review it, give you all my thoughts on it, and talk a little bit about it. I think it's a knife that's definitely worth a lot of folks' consideration. It's a pretty cool little knife. So this is the Vosteed Raccoon. It's made by Vosteed. Vosteed is a manufacturer. I believe they make all their own knives. If not, they outsource it to somebody, but I don't know. I believe it's Vosteed who makes them. So as far as I know, the designer, it's in-house design. It's one of their in-house designs. So that's what I know about this. Now, originally this came out, I believe, as a button lock, and they had different versions. This is the crossbar lock, if you'll notice, which is something kind of cool I haven't had a chance to experience before. So the crossbar lock, which I think, oh, sorry, I'm having paper fly around here, I think is pretty cool. This is made out of black micarta with a frag pattern. I don't know if you can see that, a nice frag pattern on the micarta. And there's a crossbar lock. It is a deep pocket carry clip, relatively not fully hidden, but pretty deep. There's a little lanyard hole there. Not a priority, but I mean, that could have gone a little higher, I think, but I don't know, in my opinion. Has a backspacer, which is also black micarta, which I think is cool. It is a reversible clip, so you notice there is a little cutaway here for it and a little insert that they have here, so you can just flip them, which is nice. Looks like the screws are T8s. Let's double check that. I'm going to grab my screw kit right here. I'm pretty sure those are T8s. I know the pivot is T8. Yep, so just in case you wanted to see that. T8, okay. Let's see, T8's there. Okay, so those are going to be T6s. So let's go ahead and get a T6 out. There's a T6. Yeah, T6 and T6, which is all right. You know, I always like to see T8s if at all possible, but you know, we can deal with that. All right, so the steel on this particular blade, beautiful satin finish, if you noticed here, is 14C28N. So that's kind of cool. 14C28N with a nice satin finish, almost a full flat grind, just a hair shy of it, but still pretty close. Thumb studs for deployment, which is really nice. Action's really good. It's on caged bearings, so that action and drop is really great, which is nice. Crossbar lock, which was originally, invented and designed by Benchmade. The patent ran out, and other people have been implementing it, so they call it the crossbar, something like Hogue calls it the Able lock, and other people have different types of names for it, right? So I think it's a great little knife as far as that's concerned. Again, the micarta is nicely rounded and chamfered. It's actually rounded all the way around, so that's really cool. No hot spots. It has a little cutaway here, which is sort of like a trigger, but it's actually a very usable trigger choke point. So you can put your finger here, hold it right there, make sure your finger doesn't slide off, right? Because this is kind of keep you from sliding forward. You got some jimping here. I mean, it's okay jimping. It's not super aggressive jimping and barely functional. I think if you push hard enough, it's got some traction. Okay, I'll say that. But it definitely has some traction on there, I think, which is kind of cool. Again, the action's pretty nice on this little guy right here. I think it's pretty cool. It does have Omega springs in there, and I believe it comes with an extra set, so you could swap them out if you wanted to change it. It was a little off-centered, and I tried to center it, but I was having a little challenge because it is micarta, and for some people that might be very important. For others, they may not care, right? If you're going to make this a workhorse knife, it really doesn't matter because it's not touching the side and it's perfectly fine. It's 14C28 blade steel, which is really, really great budget steel. I mean, it's some of the best you can get out there for the price and everything, right? So that's pretty awesome. Opens and closes with the thumb stud, works really well. I can do a bonus flick. I can get my middle finger in here, right like that, and do a reverse flick, and I can do it, I can do it left-handed I'm not a lefty, so I can do it lefty. There we go. It's possible. So you get the bonus flick. So you have the thumb studs for both reverse flicking. Now you got to get in there. Got to get in there to reverse flick it, right? And then the thumb flick. And then you can do, of course, the slow roll, right? But you can do the reverse flick with the middle finger. And then, of course, you can use the axis lock to open and close it, right? Like that. And then it just closes by itself, which is, I think, is pretty cool. So it has some deployment methods, great steel, caged bearings, thumb studs, steel clip. Now, by the way, that is a steel clip in case you're curious. All right, so it's a steel clip. I mean, it's a budget knife. So, I mean, we're not talking like massive amounts of money here. So this particular knife is I believe this is a White Mountain Knives exclusive. Normally these are like $59, I believe, and the frag pattern is something that they did. Yeah, and so because it's a White Mountain exclusive and it's a frag pattern, it's a little extra, right? Black micarta with a nice frag pattern, that does cost extra for the milling. So just understand that, $79 for this. Now, of course, if you follow my channel for any period of time, I do have a discount code at White Mountain Knives. Use RNK10, R for Rob's, N for nerdy, K for knives, 10, 10. You get 10% off. So that makes that $79 one just a little bit less. And we could always kind of figure that out real quick. So you take 79 times 9, so it's about $71.10. So it's a pretty good deal, I think, for getting kind of an exclusive frag pattern micarta, which is nice. It gives us a nice texture. It's not super aggressive. It doesn't rip up your jeans. This is good frag pattern, and especially on micarta, I think it looks really nice. It kind of has that burlap kind of look to it, I think, which I think is pretty cool. Kind of gives it a little rugged, kind of a nice look to it, nice texture. All right, so the blade we talked about the coating, we talked about all that good stuff. So let's do some quick measurements on this knife. Get my scale over here. All right, so the knife is three ounces, so exactly 3 ounces, which is not bad for a little knife like this, especially with micarta. I think that's pretty cool. Let's do the overall measurements for the length here real quick. So we're looking at a knife that is overall about 7 3/4 of an inch, maybe just hair shy of 7 3/4, so maybe 7 5/8, right? The overall handle, if you go from here to here, is about 3 3/4, but if you do the choke up position, you can choke up for about 4.5 inches. So I have large hands, and I think extra large hands could still fit a little over there, but if you choke up, definitely extra, double extra, triple extra large hands for sure. You can choke up, and it's a very usable choke up position. Great for pinch gripping, really nice. I don't know, Tri-State EDC has a pinch grip all day long thing. I don't know exactly how his thing goes, but I don't do a lot of pinch gripping, but I think you certainly could, right? So, all right, so the blade from the tip to the handle is about 3 1/4 inches, but the actual overall cutting length, you're looking at about 3 inches. It might be under 3 inches. Remember, certain states follow your state and local knife laws. If it has to be under 3 inches, just keep that in mind, right? All right, so let's look at the overall blade stock thickness. All right, so this blade stock thickness, you're looking at 119 thousandths of an inch, so it's 0.11 or 0.12 inches. So, not super thick, but not super thin. Definitely a very usable blade stock thickness, and being 14C28N, it's going to be a really good knife. So what is the price? The price is definitely under $100, so it's in budget category as far as I'm concerned. This is a budget knife. Really, I think you get a lot of bang for your buck. All right, so no questions there. And then as far as EDC use, yeah, absolutely EDC use. This is meant to be a hard use kind of knife. Being that it's a budget knife, it's one that you can use and you can relatively easily replace, right? It's not going to be super expensive. And it's absolutely replaceable, but it can, you're not looking at a collection piece here, but it's really a good user. So hard use, I would say, crossbar locks are pretty good for hard use. A lot of people worry about the Omega springs. Omega springs rarely fail, but they do. And typically they fail when people take them apart and reassemble them quite a bit. And that's the only time I had one Omega spring fail on me, was because I disassembled a knife several times. And I'm sure at some point, maybe I caused a little failure in how I reassembled it. So, but otherwise, I've never had any Omega spring fail for me besides that. As far as a collection piece, it's a budget knife, and I don't think budget knives are a collection piece. So that's, you can make anything you want a collection piece, certainly. But to me, it's a use knife, right? Purpose, sorry, we already talked about the purpose. It was EDC. So the ergos and feel, overall design. I like the knife. Very comfortable, rounded, which is great all around, no sharp corners. You can choke up, which is great. It's got some jimping. The thumb studs are nice, volcano-like, very comfortable to deploy and use both front and reverse flicking, both left-handed and right-handed, which is really great. The clip is very functional. It's rounded on top. It's got a perfect little lip, plenty of room. It's recessed in there with, it's a cutout, and the clip is laid in with recessed screws. So that's really nice. Plenty of room for clearance. Going to go in and out of your pocket really well. There's no catchy areas around here. It's got a lanyard hole if you want to use it. Beautiful back spacer, really comfortable. This is not super sharp. They've done, they've gone out of the way. I mean, you still have a little sharp here, so if you need to, do a flint rod, a ferrous rod, you can definitely do it there. But for the overall part where, you don't want to, get blisters and cut yourself if you're going to really hard use this knife, it's just great. Really nicely designed. Just a lot of little finishes on a knife like this and this price point that I think is great. And yeah, there's the White Mountain Knives exclusive little logo, as you can see, 14C28 right above the 14C28. So I think that is outstanding. Opening and closing is great. It's an axis lock, and it's got great action because it's a cage bearing. That always helps. You could probably put skiffs in this. I didn't because I plan to give it away. And to me, budget knife don't really need skiffs, so that's just my opinion. Unless you use it a lot and it's a knife you use regularly and you want it to be a better knife, you know, skiffs could help. So, you know, there's that. Fidget factor. All right, so fidget factor. We've got the crossbar lock. We've got the thumb studs that work really, really well. The crossbar lock works really, really well. And the middle finger, oh, of course, the one time. The middle finger reverse flicking, even for a really polished satin finish, it's got enough of an angle and flat there. I can get in there with my finger to really deploy that really nicely. So that's good. That's good. So I think we're going to give this a 6 out of 10 for sure. Maybe a 7. Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 7. This is a 7 out of 10 for fidget factor. It's up there. I mean, for a budget knife like this is really good. All right, so fidgety goodness, everything works fantastic. Yeah, I mean, is there anything that's short of it? I'm just trying to think. I mean, this is crossbar lock. Once you carry it for a while, you know when it closes and you know when the lock bar hits the thing. That's what slows it down, sometimes stops it there. So that, to me, has nothing to do with any negative points on this. I'm going to give it 100. This is 100. 100 out of that 7, they execute it 100%. Fantastic. 100% fidgety goodness. Just really nice. I could fidget with this all day long, so that's great. What are my overall thoughts and and recommendation on this? Yeah, I'm going to recommend it. It's a recommended budget knife. Absolutely 100%. I think you should get this. Really, really, really good knife. I think it's something for everyone, and hopefully you'll consider this in your collection. Really nice knife. Definitely recommend it, and go check it out. Go check out White Mountain Knives and use that RNK10 code from the channel here, and save yourself some money. I do have some affiliates. If you want to save some money over there as well and use my affiliate links, I would appreciate that as well. Absolutely. Always appreciate helping the channel if they don't have the one you want, and some other places do. So there you go. Well, thank you so much for watching today. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, or worthwhile, would you please consider hitting the like button? And if you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button? Subscribing and liking the channel really helps out. It helps the channel grow, produce more content, and ultimately do more things for you guys. So thank you. Thank you to every one of you awesome people out there, especially those of you guys who watch the videos, who like the videos, who subscribe. Man, I'm very grateful to every one of you. And you know what? If you haven't already, maybe hit that notification button so you can be notified of future content like this video. And then finally, to all my channel members, a big shout out, a big thank you, a big appreciation for all of you guys. You really help the channel. You help us to get where we're at and allow the channel to grow. Really very instrumental. I mean, there's a lot of shipping involved and checking some knives out and pass arounds and, you know, giveaways and stuff. And so I appreciate the channel members. That just allows me to continue to do a little bit extra and allow the channel to grow a little bit more. So you guys are huge. And hey, and if any of you guys thought of, hey, I'd like to become a channel member, maybe partner up. It's a once a month kind of membership. You know, there's 3 different tiers, a very entry one, and then there's a middle one and a high one. I would love to have you. I'd be honored. Please don't ever feel like you have to be, but I would absolutely welcome you. Just out of appreciation, not as any sort of incentive to become a member, but just in my way to say thank you to all the channel members, especially those who've been channel members since the beginning. I do have a once a month giveaway. I do a channel member exclusive giveaway. Anybody who has been a channel member or become a channel member and has not reached out to me with their name and address, if you do, I will give you a sticker as well. And the top tier, you get a very exclusive sticker and exclusive content. Early content gets dropped early, some polls and different things like that. So that's kind of what, you know, the channels are. I know the big thing about being a channel member is you just support the channel. And I really, really, really appreciate that. And I'm very grateful. So thank you. Thank you to every one of you guys. Hey, and if you also haven't already, also check me out over on Instagram. Would you mind going over there to Instagram and at Robs_nerdy_knives? Again, that's on Instagram at Robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.